I've been looking forward to having WaxPax on the show, and the time's come, finally. And we had a great conversation over an hour long talking about all sorts of things in the industry, from pricing to innovation to AI. And then he dropped multiple bombs on me that I wasn't even expecting. We have a script to go off of somewhat. I wasn't even ready for it. Stay tuned. How's it going, Pete? Rotten Kid, WaxPax, what's even your name?
You know what? Sometimes I ask myself the same question. I don't even know at certain times. And other people have other names for me too. So
Sure,
it's been
yeah.
good having me here. Kurt, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to call you WaxPax because I think most people know you by that. So I'm going to call you WaxPax throughout this interview.
Sure,
I'll
absolutely.
probably switch it up. So tell us about you. Where are you? Who are you? Where are you? Where are you from? Tell us about it.
Sure, I'll give you a quick kind of a synopsis so people know exactly who we are. We're located right now out of Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, right? Started here last December.
Okay.
Always been a collector at heart, like many of the people that are in this space in general. Who am I? Just an average Joe who loves to collect and said, I want to do this.
Yes.
Background is, I always thought I'd be in broadcast journalism, eh?
Okay.
And in grade 12, the my consumer ed teacher said, you're not going to make it, bro, because you have an accent. And it changed the trajectory of my life. And I ended up in law enforcement, believe it or not, for a few years. And then, everybody has a story, everybody has a sad story, whatever. Things happen in your life and it changes how you proceed forward. And we had a serious event in my life. I had two little kids. My first wife got sick and ended up passing away from cancer. So at that point, you realize how precious life really is, and you sort of set your priorities different. And I decided to focus on my kids. And, I've always been a fairly creative individual. Can I draw? Yes. Am I a great artist? No. That's why I have a team behind us, right? But am I an artist musically? You give me an accordion and I'll play you an Italian song, no problem, right? So, I think being the type of person that I am and the things that I like, I wanted to put it into something that was, fun, something that I love to do, as opposed to feeling like I have to do it. Like people go to work, we do have our 9 to 5 jobs.
Sure.
This is something that I love and it makes it easy. And I love dealing with the people that I meet through this avenue, right? So that's kind of the short end of WaxPax and what we are. We've grown to a team right now. We're fortunate. I have a team of 5 and we're all friends. We've all known each other for quite some time, except for the 5th. I have to clarify the 5th. The 5th I've been trying to convince forever, and that's DiamondCutzCards. I've been trying to convince him to come and join us. But my 2 artists, they worked for studios, animation studios forever, Felix and One Man Army, aka Dallas, and our airbrusher, Wes, phenomenal guy for airbrushing. So we've put this little team together. It took almost 8 months, and we're moving along nicely for a fairly new company that started with 4 family members following us on Instagram, right?
Sure.
So it's a process, and we're enjoying this process as we grow. And there's a lot to unpack as far as what's going on in this space right now and where we want to go moving forward and what we're going to do in the next 8 to 12 months.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that background with us. That's heavier than I anticipated, and had I known better, I would have had you bring in an accordion. I'm Italian, so if you're talking about
Oh, you
Italian
want
love
to,
songs, I mean, we could have hit it off here,
well,
WaxPax.
listen, we could, like anything, like C'è la luna nel mezzumare, mamma mia, it's easy, right? So
That's true. Yeah, it's easy. So you started the company 8 months ago, but when did you think about it? When was that moment where you said, "Hey, I'm
so
going all in"?
yeah, good question. I bought my last piece from Piggybanx April of 2024. They popped up on my Instagram. I was fortunate to get 4 pieces from them, and I liked what they were doing. And I thought, this is fun. This is really cool.
Yeah.
I think I could do this.
Okay.
But I didn't know how to go about it. So I started doing some research and looking into every aspect of it, from the packaging part to the art part. And I've talked to several people along the way in this journey. Some people have fallen off because differences of opinions, and some people have stuck around, right? And it's a total growth journey too, a personal growth journey. And we were able to execute, and this is where we are now, 8 months later, right? Because I actually started in the summer of 2024, but our first launch, I believe the date that we actually dropped our first drop was December 18th. I want to say it could be December 18th or December 21st of 2024. And that was a character that didn't exist on the radar as per what's being put out there. So I have a very good friend here in Vancouver. He's a phenomenal artist, Jason Dussault. Back in the day, I used to admire this guy. He had a company where he was making hoodies, and they were quite limited. He ended up opening up a store on Melrose Avenue. I've learned a lot of business stuff from him, and he couldn't keep a hoodie on the shelf. Those custom hoodies were selling for about $1,500 to $2,500 a piece. Yeah. And then, 2008, the market in the States collapsed, and it was like someone turned off a light switch and it just stopped. But he had a character that he had created by the name of Peter Panda. So I thought, okay, we're going to run with this character. And Jason was somebody who I looked up to and wanted to do business with him for years. And it wasn't until about 2021, 2021, when COVID struck, I received a text message, a DM from him. And he says, hey, what are your thoughts on NFTs? And I said, they suck. It's not a collectible. It's not. Listen, if I collect anything, I want it to be tangible. I want to be able to hold it. I want to feel it. And our relationship really blossomed from there. And so we created a toy. We did a vinyl toy. And I thought, okay, I'm going to pair that up with a card. And that was our first drop. And I thought it was a great drop. But it fell short in the fact that it's not a character that most people know. And if we watch right now what's happening in this industry, Pokemon's huge. Star Wars is huge. And I get it. People are drawn to their nostalgia, especially from their childhood and all that, right?
Sure.
But what I see happening, and this is where we try to change the trajectory, and we're dialing it back a little bit and we're making adjustments. It's no different. It's kind of like when you watch little kids who play soccer on a team, okay? When they're 3 and 4 years old, they don't understand positioning on the team. So when the ball is moving, they're all chasing that ball like a bunch of bees.
Yeah.
They don't know. So
Bunch ball.
what I
Bunch
find
ball.
happening in this industry is someone drops a Pokemon card. It feels like everyone else follows suit and drops a Pokemon card, where we actually don't need to do that. It's such a creative space, and I know it's in its infancy still. And Piggy really set the way for that. And if anybody wants to argue that, that's fine. They can say that they were the first to do it and all that. But they brought it to the forefront and really legitimized it to a certain degree. And I always say, and this is why we'll talk about this later on, but the Piggy Tribute card arose because we came out of the gate and we were able to charge $250 for a card. Had that not been paved prior to that, what would I be selling them at? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah. The growth is there. The creativity is there. And I think we still have a lot to learn as far as where we're going to take WaxPax. But I have a lot of stuff that's coming up in the next 8 to 12 weeks alone.
Are you doing this full time currently?
I am doing this full time.
Okay, so talk to me about your release schedule. I try to follow. You've seen some of the episodes. I try to follow a handful of artists. I can't, and I don't mean any disrespect to people that I haven't gotten a hold of recently or
For
yet.
sure. Yeah.
But there's only so many I can cover week to week. I can't pin down your release schedule. Talk to me about what you're doing with your op tempo here.
Perfect. I'll tell you what's happening. So right now, and I actually spoke to Ken Carl about 6 months ago. I reached out to him. And one of the frustrations that I had was we couldn't drop fast enough because you're only going to drop as fast as your artist can draw the art.
Sure.
And Ken said, stay on your trajectory. It's not a race. It's a long-term marathon. Take your time, put out the best stuff that you can at the time. So our release schedule, we don't really have a schedule. Now that we've got a second artist with us, Felix, it's helping us to produce more art on a consistent basis. And we also changed how many pieces we're doing because we were sort of testing the waters, so to speak, when we initially started, right? Didn't know 10 pieces, 15 pieces, 20. So where we're at right now is we're dropping 20 pieces, but I broke them down into tiers. So what I did was where we print 10, we call them the commons. And it's not that the product is any worse. Our product is consistent across the board, from
Sure.
print to packaging to everything for the customer. And the difference is our commons will print 10 of that color scheme. 10. Sure, we use different foils, but there's 10 of those. Then when we do our rares, we'll print 5 of those. Our ultras are 4, and then our vaulted, what some people call it the alpha, it's 1. That's it, and it only exists. So we've given everyone an opportunity to purchase at different price points, so they can choose if they want to buy the common at $250 or the vaulted at $500. Right? I think there are various collectors that are in certain financial levels where they can only afford a certain amount. So
Sure.
I want to be able to give everyone that's in that collector space the ability to purchase and have our product without compromising anything to do with quality, but we just give them that ability to purchase at what they're comfortable at paying for it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So did you work on a first come, first served basis? If I want the alpha, do I just have to get there first?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
Absolutely.
Now, I've heard in the art space quality over quantity. I hear it a lot. I think it's even on Kick's packaging. Might even be on yours somewhere. I know. I bet quality over quantity hits you in a certain spot, doesn't it, WaxPax? Does that hit you funny?
Sure. Yeah. Well, listen, I would take quality over quantity any day, but that's just me,
What are
right?
your thoughts? What are you seeing in the art card space related to quality over quantity?
Oh boy, do we really want to go down that road, right? So I think we've got a wide range of stuff happening out there. Anywhere from studios saying that they're creating art, but we're looking at stuff that's photoshopped. There's AI issues. And where does the art originate from? See, that's a big one for me. Where does the art originate from? I think that's a question that everyone, especially a collector, if they're looking for longevity in their investment, I would like to know where that art originated. And it's simple. I can apply it to everyday stuff, other things too. For example, I'm a huge Rolex fan. Okay. If I'm
Sure.
buying a Rolex on the secondary market, I kind of want to know where it's originated from. And is it real? Has it been Hulkanized? Do you have the box and papers? Can I confirm that it is actually a real Rolex, right?
Sure.
So I think the biggest question when you're talking quality and quantity, I think one of the things that you have to ask is where did that art originate from? And I know, but we're not going to name names. It's not my style. I know some big companies, big ones. Okay, we're only 500 and I think 80 followers deep. But I know some guys who have thousands, and their artists are right off of Fiverr. Now,
Sure.
that's fine. If that's what you want to collect, that's fine. My philosophy behind this is if you're going to call yourself a studio, everything is done in-house. That's, for me, that's where the quality comes from. If you're just buying because some piece speaks to you and you don't care how that art was created, whether it was photoshopped from a photo or AI generated, all the power to you. I'm not going to say either or, but I think because this world is so new right now, this art card space, and there's such a potential for growth over time, it will adjust and correct itself and perhaps even weed out some of the stuff that's not what we would actually consider true art. But that's all based on a person's personal experience and what they value and believe is true art, right? It varies from individual to individual. But
So
I
you're
would take, when going back to that whole quantity over quality, I want quality and I also want a low run of cards. I don't want something that's mass produced. All you have to do is look at the Pokemon market. I hate Pokemon. And we did a card that was based on the Watchmen cover where Pokemon shot right through the head, right? It's so saturated that what ended up happening was the old school Pokemon cards that actually have some value, they were almost at par. If not, they fell below the value of the moderns because people are chasing that one card that's going to hopefully hit them and make them a lot of money, right? So
right.
I like the quality and I like a low quantity. I like to own something that's really good and and not too many people own it. And this is our philosophy too with WaxPax is when I started this company and I decided that I wanted to do this, I always said to myself, okay, is this something that I would buy? If I saw this and this was someone else's, would I be the one to buy this? And I said yes, because I knew what kind of quality of product I wanted to put out. So I'm actually quite pleased with our quality.
So you've been around 8 months. I've been on the scene, at least on this channel, for less than 2 months. But I have been talking repeatedly about the need for heightened transparency. And that, to your point, goes to where did the art originate from? What are the print runs? What's the history? If I want to look up your first piece, how many pieces are there, right? Like, you want to be able to
Yes,
access some sort of historical log and not take word of mouth. I trust my neighbors just like anyone else to a
for
degree.
sure. For sure.
How does the art space solve this? You're a smart guy. We've talked offline. You're a smart guy. How do we solve it all? Because you've got, in the world of sports cards, you've got the major players, right? You have Panini, who owns, or at least recently, used to own all the licenses. And so
Yeah.
that's a single stop. And before they release a product, they build checklists, they tell you print runs, they number the cards, right? All of that administrivia is done before a product releases. In the art card space, chasing profits sometimes gets ahead of organization, and artists may pump out a piece and then in hindsight say, oops, I didn't talk about print runs, I didn't talk about the origin of the art. Any thoughts on how we solve this space in terms of transparency?
I think solving it is one thing. I think the companies that are doing it, they're going to have to hold themselves to a higher standard, and this will show in time as this space matures who the real players are and who's really open and transparent about their print runs and who isn't. We've set the tone where we're at 20 currently. Now, if our um, following increases, obviously there may be a larger demand.
Sure.
However, that being said, then we would re-release and let everyone know that we're moving to a 25 print run or a 30 print run. But I think to police it as an outsider, I don't think that'll work at this point in
Sure.
time
Sure.
because you never know what people will do. Like, for example, profits over quality and all that. I think one thing that I've learned, especially from the West Coast Card Show, that was one of my biggest shows I've done. It's about relationships. It really is, and we'll get into that in a second. But because, for example, the Piggy card that we did, and we got a bit of flack for that, and I'll get into that whole story in a sec. We printed 19. That was it, and I think, and initially we weren't going to sell any. And we let out into the wild 12 just because of the demand and the ask that we got in our DMs. But it was done as a true tribute, and there was 19 printed. I could print another 30 right now, and I can sell out and make a lot of money. We're not going to do that. That's not where it's at, because then it just devalues. I've had people ask me for discounts on cards, and I said I can't give you that discount I don't need to move it. If I haven't sold out, let's say I've done a run of 15 cards and I sold 13 and I have 2 extras. Those will come to a show with me. And if someone picks it up, they do. But I'm not going to try to sell it and then, then you just change the integrity of the product itself, right? If I've sold it for $250 and then I'm selling it to someone else for $80, I've just questioned the integrity of the product in itself. And I just don't want to do that. It's not all about the money. It's not. And we've got some other stuff that's down the pipe. See, you see a lot of things. And like I said, in this industry right now, because it's in its infancy, people chase and they look at what everybody else is doing. I've unfollowed everybody because I don't want to see what other card artists are doing. I don't want to. I want to come up with stuff that is what I consider unique to our WaxPax brand. Right?
That's an interesting approach, because even if you don't intend to, right, it plants a seed in the back of your mind that you're referencing if you see these pieces. I like that. Just shut it all off.
Just shut it off.
Shut off.
And see what you can do, right? But then I've got Diamond Cuts. Sends me something and says, hey, have a look at this. Didn't we just talk about this 2 months ago? And I go, oh, we're late releasing. But here's the problem with that too. And it'll happen. You'll have cross pollination basically with art pieces, because when everyone's using the same type of characters, there's gonna be crossover. You're gonna have it, and it's gonna happen. I think this space right now, if you're very creative, allows you to create characters and create a story behind them that don't exist.
Sure.
You can open this up completely, where you're not pigeonholed in doing the Richie Rich, the Mr. Monopoly, the Donald Ducks, the Mickey Mouses. And we're a bit at fault at that too, for running with some of the pop culture stuff. But we're also looking to transition into other avenues at the same time to grow it and offer a little bit more variety for the collector that's out there.
Love it. Now, you talk about Diamond Cuts. I've heard that mentioned 3 times already. What's the deal? Are you partners or not? You partners, but you're separate companies.
Listen,
what's happening?
In my mind, Kurt, we're partners. I'll tell you the story about Diamond Cuts. When I initially started, I was in contact with a fellow who I don't speak to anymore at this time, just fine. Things, personality differences and that. He put me onto Diamond Cuts. So I reached out to Diamond Cuts and I said, hey, you print. I have a problem. I have the art. I need to print this and I don't know how to start. And I said, where are you located? He goes, I'm in Orting, Washington. Well, Vancouver, we're close. We're 2.5 hours out of Seattle here. I'm coming to see you on the weekend. So I went down there. I drove down to see the guy, right? Super nice guy. He's a lot nicer than I am. And I gave him a bit of shit because I said, the level of your printing, I say he's one of the top 3. From a guy who runs it out of his own operation, he's top 3 in North America for printing. This guy knows his stuff really well. And I know he was helping some other companies. And I told him, you need to stop. This is like the KFC secret recipe, bro. Don't give away your secrets with this, right?
Sure.
And he goes, I know, I'm having a hard time. I'm just too nice. And I go, stop being nice. Fuck them, because no one's going to help you. Unless they're giving you something back, forget it. So anyways, so here we're full circle now. I think what solidified us partnering up, and I understand his point of view too. He's built a brand called Diamond Cuts. And it's very difficult to let that go. And he's got quite a good following. He's at 2,500 plus, I believe, followers. And for someone to come in and say, hey, listen, I want you to drop your brand, start with a new brand. We're going to start from ground level, scratch. That's a tough pill to swallow, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a big ask. But what solidified it was this. I remember saying to him, we're going to do a tribute card to Piggy. And his response was, you're nuts. And I'm not having any part of it. I'll print it, but don't attach my name to it. I said, okay, no problem. Don't worry. Let's just do this. So I ended up calling, I didn't call, I DM'd, what's his name? Bobby Doughboy Studios. He's the original artist of that pig that was done for Piggy. I said, hey, listen, how do you feel? We want to redo it, and we're going to do a tribute card for Piggybanx. And he said, sure, have at it. Just out of courtesy, right? Because we're taking somebody else's art, we're modifying it,
sure,
just to be nice, just to Now, the problem that arose with that was, and I told Diamond, I said, we're going to need to use the Piggybanx logo on our card. That's a big no-no, as we know. We've seen what's happened.
Sure.
But there's, I always look at it as relationship building, and what your intention is, what you're doing with someone's property, as far as that's concerned. So when we released that, that was, I think, an epiphany for Steve Diamond Cuts, aka Diamond Cuts. He says, I'm a believer now, because it could have gone two ways, and I'll tell you that whole story, but it could have gone two ways, and it didn't. It went in our favor, luckily, thanks to Brad's team, and that they realized what the purpose of it was, and there was no hidden negative agenda. It was just we just did it natural, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, Diamond said, okay, I see your trajectory. I see where you want to take WaxPax, how you're operating it. I'm in. So I believe he's right now. I was supposed to go there tomorrow. I'm heading down there probably Wednesday. He's in a transition where we're gonna close down Diamond Cuts, and we're gonna be under the umbrella of WaxPax together.
So this is breaking news. Breaking news on CIA. Diamond Cuts.
When he watches this episode, he's gonna text me and go, "Listen, I'm not sure I
Easy
want to
now.
do this now."
Slow down.
Right? Yeah, no, but it's a process, right? Because you're developing relationships with people, individuals, and you don't want to step on toes, but at the same time, like, I want him on the team badly. Like, I know what he can offer. I know his expertise. When we did the West Coast Card Show, we had a table together. He actually sent me a message and said, "Hey, listen, I've got a table at the West Coast Card Show. Let's run it as WaxPax." I said, "Okay, sure." He brought a bunch of stuff that he pre-owned, because I've done the same thing though. I've purchased other artists' work. I just wanted to see the quality.
So West Coast Card Show.
Can't say much. Can't say much about the quality, right?
No,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. And I know, honestly, like, when you do that, because you want to compare with yours, it's whatever you want to see what levels people are at, right? And when we were at the card show, Diamond was showing me a bunch of cards from various artists, and he would point out certain things, even just the longevity of the card. You have a card that's a year old and stickers are peeling up, or it's warping already inside the case, right? You don't want that. This is a collectible piece that people are buying to hold for a long time, unless they're looking to flip it. But otherwise, if it's something that you want long-term in your collection, you also want that quality there where it sustains its, appearance.
Yeah.
You don't
natural
want it,
form. Absolutely.
Yeah, natural form. You don't want it changing, right? So I've learned a lot that way through him, and he's just a really good guy to have on your team, extremely knowledgeable. And so I think 95%, I've got him convinced.
Well, you've already announced they're shutting down, so
But it took a long time, I tell you.
You took them the final 5% on your own.
Absolutely, like. But lots of respect to him, because he did establish himself really well. And when you're going to somebody else, and you got a guy who's like me, who's got a lot of big hopes, has big dreams, and says things that some people just go, "What is this guy thinking? There's no way he'll execute." Listen, I've executed a lot of things in my life. I failed at a lot of things, but I've executed some things and I've done very well at it, right? And unless you try, you never know. You never know, Kurt, right?
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and I pursued this guy seems like I've been courting him to date him for 8 months, right? But I think he's now finally taken the bait. And
That's amazing. Good. That partnership, really I think, will do amazing things. So talk to me about the West Coast Card Show a bit. What was your experience? I heard you didn't even show up the last day. You just had enough of everyone?
Sunday. I didn't go Sunday. We didn't end up going. So when you look at a lot of these companies and everybody that's around, sure, the product is the key, but I think what supersedes it all is the relationships you build. Now, I've got a huge contingency of Piggy collectors that do purchase my stuff. Okay. Will I ever convert them fully into WaxPax? No, they're not my target audience. So here's West Coast Card Show. I'm standing there with, I believe it was Friday night. Yeah, it was a Friday night. And I'm standing there with Diamond, and Diamond taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, look who's here." So I take a look and I see him. And I've had conversations with this individual on on Instagram many times. He's bought numerous cards from me, especially the same set of cards. And he'll say to me, give me 4 of these cards, but I want you to do this. Take this one card and send it to this other collector because I want him to see the quality of your work. I get this a lot.
Okay.
And it's all the time. And what's that also happened to as a result of this, people who are new collectors into my world come back to me, and it's been happening a lot lately. I'd say in the last 4 to 6 weeks, hey, do you have anything left over from your old pieces? I'd like to buy it. And I do. Some stuff is sold out and I can't give it to you. But anyways, I see this individual. We'll call him Eddie because he is Eddie, and everybody knows Banks Pew Pew really well. So I have an issue with languages, okay? And it's a thing that I have, and it is. And I knew that Eddie was Romanian. So I come around the table, walk up to him, give him a hug. Chefach, how you doing, Eddie? Welcome. And he looks at me, smiles, and he goes, I'm not Eddie. And I'm looking at this guy going, buddy, I worked in law enforcement. I know exactly who you are. Facial recognition, no problem. I see you on your Instagram, right? And he points to this guy with his back to us, and he goes, that's Eddie. And I go, what? Now I'm so confused, right? So this guy turns around, but he's confused too because Eddie's telling this guy, you're Eddie, but this guy thinks that you're not Eddie. And it just became funny. And in that moment, I had glasses. I had these meta glasses because I wanted to record some of my interactions with some of the buyers.
Okay.
Nah, you think I have time to turn this thing on? And then this other kid comes up, and Eddie goes, hey, Joshua. And Joshua Ramos is quite famous in this space of the card collecting. I can't remember what his handle is.
Sports
And I
Card
see this
Plaza?
kid. Sorry?
Is it Sports Card Plaza or Taxi?
Yeah, that's
Plaza,
exactly
right?
who it is. That's
Plaza.
exactly who it is.
Yep.
And it's funny because he walks up and Eddie goes, hey, that's WaxPax. He speaks Polish. So this Joshua Ramos walks up to me and goes, hey, cześć, jak się masz, right? And I'm looking at him and I respond to him in Polish. He's full on speaks the language because his mom and his babcia are Polish. And it's those interactions that it doesn't matter. You connect on a different level. Sure, we can talk cards. We can talk anything, but it's about the personal interactions that happen. And that experience was really good. And I remember coming back around the table and Diamond Cuts looks at me and goes, fuck, I thought I knew you, but man, like I've tried to talk to that Josh kid and all of a sudden you walk up, someone points them out, and you're having a full conversation with this kid, right? So that's what makes this so much fun. And building these relationships. And as a result, like I'm in Miami on the 22nd of this month, right? And Eddie, who I met face to face at the show that evening, messaged me, hey, when you're in town, don't rent a car. I'll give you the Hummer. You don't know me though, but it feels like we know. And I think that's key in developing your business brand with, sometimes the art might not speak to them, but they'll just support you because they like who you are as an individual too. And it's a big thing, right? So my experience at the West Coast Card Show, everything sold out. We did a tribute card for OG Slick, who I really like a lot. I hadn't received any response from him yet, but I will see him November 13th to the 16th, I believe it is. We're at Designer Con in Las Vegas.
Okay.
We're going to be presenting some stuff, some toys that we did alongside a card. So I'll present him with that. But I wasn't allowed to show that card out of respect to Disney across the street. So we just had that face down, but people came, we flipped it, they saw it, they liked it, they bought it. And we were done as of Saturday. There was no point in us going Sunday. I would have just sat at the table with nothing to show anyone.
So you brought which pieces? You brought the OG Slick, Uzi, Mickey.
I had the OG Slick. I had the Piggies with me, and I had a bunch of La Bubus, La Bullies, though, the bully one, where, La Bubu, he's pushing aside Furby and Monchichi, right? Gone. And people, when they saw the product in hand, and this is where you want to get your product in people's hands, is when they see it, you can feel it. You see the quality. You own our Steph Curry, right? So you know that. I've got a piece that I'm going to send out to you too, just for fun, so you can have it and see it, and you'll like it, right? I know. I stand behind my product. If someone gets my product and says, "Hey, I don't really like it," I'll buy it back from you, no problem. I'll take it because I know how good our quality is.
Now, talk to me about the Pig Tribute piece a bit, because you and I were talking offline,
Yeah.
I saw the Pig Tribute, and then I put it in one of the weekly reviews
Yeah.
in one of the videos. Right, it was
Yeah.
you batted cleanup in that video, if you will, the last spot,
That was
and
great.
and then we started talking a little bit, and you talked about the price point. Initially, talk to me about the price point, because this sold out, and this sort of broke your pricing model a bit because it was a special tribute. Did you expect that piece to sell out at West Coast Card Show? And tell me about the demand for it.
So it actually sold out before the West Coast Card Show, but people were able to pick up their piece from the West Coast Card Show.
Interesting.
So when we released it, I made the video, the tribute video, obviously, and my DMs started to flood in. And obviously it's mostly piggy collectors, right? That
Sure.
want this. And I'm actually in conversation with a piggy collector that has the original pig on canvas. I want to purchase it. Okay. I want it in my collection. So price point, we weren't going to sell it. I set aside a 3-card set for Brad, for Piggybanx. And a lot of people have a misconception. People think that I know Brad and we're in tight with them. I've never met Brad in my life. I don't know Cody Banks. I've spoken to Brad online back in the day when I was ordering. Remember when you had to DM and say,
Sure.
hey, I'd like to buy this piece? And he was very nice, very cordial, like just all a positive experience. So when people started asking if the piece is for sale, I thought, okay, this is hot. I know it's hot. And I looked at what Piggy sells their starting point pieces. They're 750, right? They're
Absolutely.
750 USD. But I remember buying Piggy stuff at 200 and 250 when it was at that range, right?
Must be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time. And I remember I said to Diamond and I said to my team, I said, I think we can make some money on this. And it'll change into something here shortly. I'll explain to you the idea behind it. I said, I think let's do the artist proofs at 2,000 and let's do the vaulted versions at 1,300. Let's just put it out there. See what happens. No problem.
No
I
problem.
had one individual, multiple pieces, said, do you have any more pieces? Introduced me to another person. I met at the Irvine Marriott with one collector. Really nice guy. I handed him the 3-piece set that I had for Brad, and he presented it to him on the following day after, because their dinner was the Sunday, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
some people said, are you going to the dinner? Are you invited to the dinner? That was not the place for me to present this. This was their dinner. It would have been inappropriate for me to come and maybe take away a little bit of the thunder with this tribute piece. It
Okay.
was done very well. Jason, another Jason who's a collector, said, you know what? I'm going to give him the piece on the Monday. I'm going to go to their new studio. I said, perfect. That's the way it should be. And it just went like wildfire. It wasn't really difficult to sell.
What was there any
Now,
hesitance of the buyers? Did they were
none.
they
There was no
curious?
hesitation. There was no one complained about the price. It was more like, how many can I purchase?
And so you took a risk. You said you don't know Piggybanx
No,
personally.
no,
You took a
no,
risk
I
with the
don't.
piece. Did the collectors? Did you get a sense that they were comfortable buying the piece? Forget price point. Did they have to check with Piggybanx and Cody, like, or did they just say, I
I'll tell
want
you
it,
how.
I don't care?
No, here's the background of it. Here's the thing. I reached out. I have some collectors who I'm really good friends with that are piggy collectors, and they're summer nights. And I said, hey, listen, I'm going to do this piece. Can someone reach out to Brad and ask him if it's okay that we use even their logo?
Okay.
The logo's on the chain that the pig's holding, and it's up in the header up on the top, right? And people were trying to contact certain individuals, and nothing was really coming back at that point in time,
Okay.
right? And which was fine. And I remember it was a Saturday morning, and I said, everybody's so positive about this piece. And I've got one fellow here in Vancouver, Ken, who's been extremely supportive of everything that I do. He hasn't bought a piece from me. Every piece he owns from me, I've gifted to him, happily gifted it to this guy. What a great guy. He goes by Storm Shadow. He's a knight. He's a piggy knight.
Oh, I've had a
Yeah.
couple conversations with him, and I heard he's the nicest guy
Oh,
ever, and he's
this
only been the
guy,
nicest guy.
he's a class act. I'll tell you that. And he's been nothing but supportive. And he says, your intentions are really good. Stay on track. Just do what you need to do. So it was a Saturday morning, and I said, I'm going to post it up. I turned to my wife and I said, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. Nervous. But I thought, okay, a couple things can happen. Number one, they're either going to like it, or number two, I'm going to be asked to take it down. And I'm okay with that. I was prepared for that. And we had all 19 pieces printed. I had them all ready to go made. And Diamond said, what are you going to do with them if we just keep them? I said, we're going to keep them. I could go to Crate Edition, and they're nice. Like, I
Sure.
love these pieces. And I thought Dallas nailed it with this. I remember sending Dallas the pig. And I said, hey, put your spin on this pig. No problem. It turned out really well, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then a few hours later, I get a notification. Piggy commented on the post, said thank you, excellent tribute, and they reposted our work in their story. When does Piggy repost anybody's stuff other than their own being reposted on
Sure.
someone's page? They
Sure.
just don't, right? They don't.
Yeah.
So that was a really good feeling. And then some DMs started flying in, and somebody messaged me, a fellow from Florida, and he said, you just did a master class in marketing. He goes, good for you for doing that. And I said, it was just a chance. I did it by chance. Let's see what happens. Now, we did really well on those cards. I'm going to say this without giving too much information. I see what Piggy does with their auctions. There's a lot of donations being made.
Yeah.
I see other companies follow suit. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge donations guy because I know organizations take a lot of money, but there's a large chunk of this money, and it will be disclosed at a future date, not too long from now, what we're going to do with some funds that we earn. We're in a very good position right now where we can give back to the community, but we have a certain system in place. And I think a lot of people will appreciate it once it comes to fruition and we do actually show what happens with it. So it's a good cause. It took me a little bit of time to come put this together, but a family member actually close to me inspired us, right? Inspired us. But I'll tell you, I'll say this about the Piggy piece. I read some comments about it, and then one comment really stood out to me. And someone wrote on someone's page, it's funny how Piggy's never reached out to any of us artists. I did one of these. I went, what? Why would they reach out to you? If you want to do something with them, reach out to them. I know they have a brand to protect,
Sure.
but in the worst case scenario, it doesn't matter. It's no different. I have a bunch of, I showed you earlier, I showed you those BMX bikes. I didn't buy any one of those. I found out who the brand manager was for these PK Rippers because back in the day, in the early 80s, I saw one of these, 84. I think it was 84. I was 10 years old at the time. And I said to my grandfather, I said, hey, can we buy this bike? And it was $600. And I remember him saying, are you crazy? $600? We go to Kmart, I buy you 4 bikes. Okay. But no, it's fine. But you know what? I asked Todd, I said, hey, Todd, can you send me a bike? I'm going to do a bunch of photos for you and send them back. I ended up with 10 bikes, for free. But he could have said no. And I think this whole mentality where people should be reaching out to you and offering you, Piggy owes no one anything. No company does, right? Like they don't. And I think I'm very proud of this Piggy piece. To be honest, like I'd lie if I didn't say I was. I think it did what I wanted it to do. And, yeah, it's a space where it's going to get very competitive, but it will adjust itself. I always look at it like it's like the big three in the watch world. So you got Patek at the top, AP's kind of second, and Rolex is a third. It's a good Porsche, right? Like it's solid. I know who the top three are, and I I won't say because it's my opinion.
Sure.
Others could say they have their own opinions of who their top are, and that's fine. But as far as executing that, I was happy to do that. WaxPax could never have come out of the gate unless they paved the way. I would never have been able to charge $250 a card. And I kind of know the history of how Brad started. his company, what he was selling them at. And you're giving stuff away for free too. Trust me, I gave away a bunch of stuff for free. I just wanted to get it into collectors' hands so they could see what we were producing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love. I'm excited to see what you do to give back to charity with from this tribute piece, and I love the whole story. I'm glad it went better than you potentially anticipated. It sounds like it did, and
Yes.
you're off and running. So you've got Diamond 95% of the way there, maybe 100%, depends once he sees this video. And I saw your website just pop open. What? Just
Yes.
2 days ago?
So
Website
we
just popped
opened
open.
it because we did a drop Jabubu,
Yeah.
right? Another play on the Labubus. And we just open it when we decide to sell it. We kind of keep it open for about 24 hours. We'll open
Okay.
up, let's say noon, 12 hours, I should say, not 24. We'll open it at noon. And then once things sell out or close to sell out, I close it at about midnight. And that's it.
Done.
And then I take the remaining pieces. If I have any left over, they come with me to a show. And they move at the show pretty good.
Okay.
Right?
And then the website will remain closed until the next drop.
Until the next drop. That's the way I like to do it. For now.
Interesting. Okay.
Can it change? It might change. I don't know yet.
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wait till Diamond gets
growing.
100% in. I'm sure he has ideas.
We're growing and we're just testing the waters on every avenue.
Fair enough. Pricing. Why did you price your pieces the way you did? So you're at what, $250 for your commons?
$250 for the commons.
Right.
Rares go up by $50. They're $300. Ultra rares are $350. So we went up in $50 increments.
Sure.
And the vaulted at $500. I am not in a position to charge $750 a card. We're not there yet. Don't have the following. And we do very well with the small following that we have. Like, I look at our insights and all that. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
For a very small company right now. Now, after the West Coast Card Show, I can share a little bit of information. We are being courted by a very large company right now.
Okay.
Who wants to start a art card division within their company. Now, the money that's being thrown out, the amounts are amazing. And most people would jump on the opportunity. I'm going to be a lot more calculating with this and make sure that it works for WaxPax and it works for the other individual company. But at this point in time, it's that whole relationship is in its infancy, and I'm not sure if it will ever pan out. I'm happy with the trajectory that WaxPax is in right now, and there's just room and potential for growth. Could there be a unification? There might be. I just don't know at this point in time.
Are you just dropping bombs on me today? Diamond Cuts shutting down, WaxPax consolidation.
Here, let me drop one last bomb on you. So I remember when Piggy had a certain amount of following, and I use them as an example because here's the thing. In business or anything that you do, I always think to myself, I want to be the dumbest person in the room. I want to be the one who's growing and learning from other individuals. And I'm going to look at those people that are executing properly and doing really well. If you want to stay in a rut, you're not going to do that. You're going to just knock people. And let me tell you, I had my moments. I was like, how are these guys dropping so much? Like, I just hate them. And then there's days I just wanted to go, we can't do this. I can't do this. This WaxPax is done. Like, what am I stressing out over?
Sure.
But I'm going to relate this to a family member of mine. And some people know who I'm talking about that are close to me within this card world. I remember when Piggy jumped, and now they're at 60,000 followers, right? Yeah. And I understand you have certain buyers that are loyal and you want to accommodate them. Okay. It's happened to us, and we only have 580 followers. I have a company like Piggy who's jumped in 3 years. I believe they've been in business. They're at 60,000, right? Now you want to spread your product. I know that I'm not sure what their print run is exactly. I've heard it's 40, but you want to expand who's collecting with you. That's a smart move. That's what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So just recently, we have a family member in our family who presented on a podcast. And I believe she had 8,000 followers. in 3 weeks, she jumped to 43,000 real followers. And I'm going to tell you the stress level, because you're now being bombarded with more DMs. People are, and you saw the growth. It was like 1,000 new followers every 3 hours. So when I hear people complain, oh, Piggy's they don't respond to me now anymore like they used to. I get it. I saw it in real time. I wish I had that problem.
Sure.
I'd be just happy to be at 2,000 followers right
Yeah.
now, because then I know that every single drop that I do, because not every single drop sells out. Most of them do, but I do have some that don't. And I had one that just flopped. And you know what? That's okay.
Lesson
It's going
learned.
to happen. It's
Yeah.
part of the growth process, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I commend and I look up to the people that are doing really well. I always have. And hopefully we're going to be able to be in a position like that within the year where we're going, okay, we're doing some really good stuff here. I really like the trajectory, and we'll see what happens.
Do you watch
Right?
the secondary market at all? I know a lot of artists, and I have a lot of thoughts, most of which I don't share. I told you
Sure.
offline, I don't share most of my thoughts. But I see a
Yeah.
lot of people, they watch the secondary market closely. Do you watch the secondary market at all?
I do. I see some of it. I do look at it a bit.
Does it concern you? Does it impact what you're doing strategically at WaxPax?
No, not at all. And I think Brad, see, I always go back to them because I watch and I'll compare it to a real life situation. You know, they're really good because their stuff is not for resale, right? Brilliant marketing move. Do you want to see your stuff on the secondary market? Sure, let it go. But I don't really care what things sell for. There's a lot of talk about shilling, and yeah, shilling happens. 100% it does. There's some fake prices. Sure, I guess there is, right? But as far as a company, what happens on the secondary market, especially to my pieces, I don't really care at this point. It's not a thing for me. I want the collector to enjoy my piece. But as far as people saying, well, you know, prices are inflated and this and that, I'll give you an example. I have a couple regrets. And one of them was I sold one of my Piggy pieces and it was called Thug's Bunny. It had a very low print run. And I moved it to a collector who was looking for it. Another Piggy collector. Number one regret. Number two, though, and as far as is the market inflated or not, or is there funny business happening? Sure, there is. I had a messy piece that I paid $250 for, and I put it up on eBay. It was a Piggy piece, and it sold for $3,000, and no one shilled it. I just put it up there, and it went up on its own, right?
Sure.
So I believe there are a lot of pieces that are selling for what their people want to pay, because a piece is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Okay. I had the pleasure of meeting Collector Creative.
Yeah.
Okay. Heard a lot of stories about him, and I actually prejudged him, and my prejudgment wasn't really good. I met Zach, salt of the earth, solid guy. Like
Absolutely.
such a good guy. And he changed my whole perspective of who he is. And he had a grail that I wanted, and he sold it to me. And I'm right now pursuing a secondary one. I'll show it to you though. Show you what I love. This is, he's my age. He speaks to me on so many different levels. But I got the gold version black label, the M&M that Piggy did.
Nice.
Right?
Yes.
So I love it. And Zach sold it to me. And I said, I've been chasing this piece. I've wanted this piece on so many different levels. And there's some
the
popping
gold
up on
looks amazing on that piece, by the way.
It's such a beautiful
It's
card,
an amazing
right?
piece.
So, and then I look at that and I think, okay, how's WaxPax going to apply something like this, right? Because you don't want to copy, but you're going to take inspiration from other people. You have to.
Of course.
That's the art world. That's how it works, right? So, but as far as the values and all that, I don't know. Some guys want to police it, want to follow it. Go ahead, do it. I don't really care at this stage of the game.
I think that's the right
really
approach. I think it's the right approach.
I just don't. It's no different than, I don't know if you know the story when Victoria's Secrets came out, when the guy made it. It was an online store, and he did that for men because he wanted them to feel comfortable buying lingerie for their wives. Okay. The story, something goes to this effect that he sold it for $5 million to a larger company. And I believe they ended up selling it a couple years after for 50 million. Well, instead of accepting the fact that he sold it for 50 million, for 5 million, and I think he started it with $60,000. Okay. That's how it started. he ended up committing suicide. He threw himself off the bridge, right? Like, so I don't concern myself with what the prices are after. If my pieces end up on eBay and they sell for more or quietly behind the scenes, that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that.
I
It
think
doesn't
that's
affect me.
preferred, right? You want to see them sell for massive
Sure,
numbers.
sure.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready, WaxPax?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you said if you don't want your piece, you're gonna buy it back. Are you saying you're gonna buy back any piece, or is that just for certain tribute pieces?
No, I'll buy any piece back. If somebody receives a piece from us and they don't like it for whatever reason, they don't like the quality or whatever, I'll buy it back for the same price that you purchased it from me. No problem.
Money back guarantee. I love it. I love it. I own one of your pieces, and by the way, I was turned onto it by your partner, DiamondCutzCards, who pointed me to a collector that had the Steph Curry autograph piece.
Ah, yes.
And I got to tell you, in person, I mean, I liked the piece because I obviously bought it when I liked it, but when I got it in person, I was like, right? This piece is amazing. It's amazing, amazing. Now, I would have preferred he used white ink. I heard someone caught him using blue ink, but the blue actually blends well. But the piece is stunning. It's stunning in person.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That was just an experience in itself. That was a really cool experience to do that card. He did do some in white.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
Just in blue. But that was an experience. There's more to come of different individuals in the near future.
Near future? What's near?
Yeah, near is, well, I think before Christmas.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens, right? Like I don't want to put all my cards out there. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you a quick story, another story. There's an artist out there called oneMizer.
Yes, okay? ArtMX.
He's on ArtMX. Had a conversation with him in December of last year. And he's from France. So I pulled out the Je parle un petit peu français.
As I would have.
Because in Canada, we have to learn French. It's our second sort of national language. Ari, who's a Piggybanx collector, I think you had him on the show just recently. He's a doctor.
Yeah, Ari Gold.
I'm very fond of him because he's from Montreal. You know, he's a fellow Canadian.
Great guy.
I laid out a plan with oneMizer and said, I'd love to do a collaboration with you. And he says, I'll contact you in January. Nothing. And then I see ArtMX. But hey, listen, that's the nature of the beast. I was lucky to have Dosbrack, Dennis, who we did a collaboration with. It was, we did the Laundrette card. This is the one of his pieces for his art. This was done on canvas. And this was a funny conversation. And I'll tell you, you meet all kinds of people. Dennis said, hey, listen, let's have a conversation before we do this collaboration together. And I'm going to bring my manager, Lee Duffney, on. So we did a 3-way FaceTime call, basically, right? And it's supposed to be 20 minutes. We're into it an hour and 30. Okay. Conversation's flowing really good. But here's me. I'm hyped. We're still fairly new. I'm bringing in another artist. And I go, I got guys in the UFC. I know friends. Keith Martinez out of San Diego. He'll hook us up. We'll have Conor McGregor signing the cards for us. Kurt, what a donkey. So a week later, Lee Duffney follows me on Insta, on our WaxPax account. He's private, so I refollow. He doesn't accept my follow for about 2 weeks. And then I start going through his Instagram. And I'm confused. He's at Conor McGregor's christening for his kid. I'm looking. I start reading the posts. We've been friends since teenagers. But he never said anything to me. And I'll tell you, that tells a lot about him. Because he could have flexed it on me, right? But I think they enjoyed the moment.
Yeah.
Because I was so pumped. And I'm like, we're going to do this. We're getting this. And I was like, oh, shit. And I actually totally, I said, and he goes, no. He goes, Pete, it was just fun talking to you because you were so hyped. I'm not going to tell you that I know him. We're best friends and all this, right? So,
well, Pete, let me know. You know, I have a soft spot for autographed art pieces.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
It's a real soft spot. And oneMizer, I'm sorry to hear that because oneMizer is a stud of an artist.
No, I'm not. Listen, I understand business, and I wish them nothing but the best. I love his work. I love his style. right?
Yeah,
And we're
incredible.
dropping a bomb. We're dropping a bomb in the next beginning of October. A bomb is going to drop. Literally.
What kind of bomb?
A bomb. In 2018, I was at Designer Con, and I was a huge proponent before any of this. I liked the art toy collectible, right?
Okay.
As seen by Fool's Paradise here, that's done, Mario in a version, right, of the professional from the movie. And I created a company back then. There's a lot of funny things that are very parallel to what Piggy does, hey? I created a company called Two Footer, and I put it under my son's name, and we never pursued it. But the reason for Two Footer was we're going to create toys that are 2 feet tall or bigger, nothing smaller. I
Okay.
like big. Bigger go home, right?
Okay.
And then as I start following Piggy, I see they've got a studio called Good Two. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of parallels that are really funny. I hope that one day I can at least just meet Brad, shake his hand,
Yeah.
say, "Hey, how's it going?" Whether that'll happen or not, who knows, right?
Sure.
But yeah, we're dropping a bomb. We printed a 2 foot tall, and it's quite, I don't know what the circumference of it is, but if you remember the bullet from Nintendo, and he had a face on him, and it was black,
Oh yeah.
and he
Yeah.
had those teeth showing,
Yeah.
I have had that for about a year and a half. And we 3D printed it, then we automotive put the layering over top so it's nice and smooth. And I thought, we're going to make this into an art piece. And I didn't know what to do with it. It just sat. Well, it's being painted right now
Look out.
by our guy Wes. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Excited to see it. We're 4
Yeah.
weeks away or less.
Yeah.
So
4
what's
weeks
the
away. He had
end
to go.
goal
He
with
went.
WaxPax? You said there's a top 3 out there. There's a top 3. Is
In my
WaxPax in
head,
the
there's a
top
top
3?
three. There's a top three.
Is WaxPax in the top 3?
100%. I know that I am. Even though people won't think that, I know that I'm in top 3. Guaranteed.
What's the end goal?
To continue evolving WaxPax, creating fun art, and just having a good time doing it, and just making new friends. Because
Amazing.
at the end of the day, it's the relationships that you build that will help you grow. 100%.
Facts. Final question. I'll get you on your way, Pete. You're a great guy.
Sure.
What do you want to see in the space of collectible art pieces? Artists, collector side, both sides. What do you want to see happen? What's wrong with it? What's good with it? What do you want to see continue?
I want to see transparency and honesty with the product. I don't want to see the cash grabs. I want what's being put out there is genuinely being put out for the right purposes and what people are paying, because 250 for a lot of people is a lot of money for a card.
Sure is.
Okay. And sure, there are some whales out there that can afford that and it's not a problem, but I want to see that the product that they're getting is true and genuine to what they're paying for, and they're getting good quality, and they love the art that they're getting, because not everyone is drawn to certain art. So whatever they get, they get. But I think over time, it will be interesting to see how the different formats of art will be accepted, and what the transition will be. But I'd like to see real art.
Do you see
Real
yourself
art.
getting into similar spaces? I mean, we talked a lot about Piggybanx, but other people are doing the same thing. You've got sort of your 100 card size, you have your comic book size, you have wall art. You see a similar trajectory for WaxPax?
We've talked about it with Diamond. He's actually produced some of that. I've had some people tell me it's actually a good idea to go a little larger, because then you can really see the details in the art. Do I see some pieces being done that way? Yes, in the near future. Is it a consistent thing? Probably not, because I want to do something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you have all these hidden gems, and I want to know all of them, Pete.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm like trying to pull them out. I see you fighting against yourself.
I have to, or else I'm going to end up with nothing. And then I'm going to be looking, and Diamond's going to tell me something, send me a post and say, look, they did it. We were too late to the show, which is fine.
Let's not give away all the trade secrets, especially before you finalize your agreement with Diamond Cuts. It's final. I'm still not sure if it's final. It sounds final.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be final. I'll make it final, because we're trying to move this whole company to the States. Yeah.
Oh, Look at
And we'll
this.
leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Another bomb. Bomb number 15.
Listen, I'm tired. I'm an old man now. I'm 51, right? Vancouver
Sure.
rains a lot, if you know what the weather's like here.
It does rain a
And
lot
I like
there.
the sun and I like the heat, and Vegas is calling my name.
Vegas is a great spot. You like to gamble?
It's a great spot. It's a great spot.
You a gambler?
We've been offered a spot. The company that's courting us has offered us a spot in Cali, in LA, but I'm not there. I'd rather be in Vegas.
A lot of courting going on. You're courting. You're being courted. WaxPax's
It's
on
almost
the
like
move.
It's like a dating system, right? We don't even need Tinder or anything like that. Like I've been trying to date Diamond forever, and he's just slow to the process.
Pick up the pace, Diamond. Anything you want to leave us with today, Pete, that we didn't cover?
Not much. No, I appreciate you having me on the show, Kurt. I really appreciate it.
You're a gem. I appreciate you. I'm excited to see what transpires with the partnership. I'm excited to see the first bomb in October. I'm excited to see all the other future bombs. And congrats to you. I like people that take risks and have the right mindset and the right intention. And I believe all those to be true about you. So
thank you.
Kudos
to you. Appreciate it.
We'll be talking soon, my friend. Until next time, stay sharp, chase smart. Friend, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Take care, Kurt.
Out here.
Bye.